Hey everybody, I'm Royce Railey with Go Fish Ministries and Tightline Fishing, and just wanted you guys on social media and out there on YouTube to know that we're out here filming, getting ready for season 4 of Tightline. And we're just having a lot of fun today. We're actually at a small pond in middle Georgia. We've had really warm winter, and then all of a sudden it got cold. And I just lost a really nice one on a rattle bait over here. And I actually think we saw this fish roll over. It might be on a bed, so we're gonna ease over here and see if we can make this fish bite. I didn't quite get there. We didn't actually see the bed. We saw where the fish rolled, and I was gonna try to hit right back in there where she was. I'm not sure I'm hitting right where that fish was because I never really saw a definitive light spot. Just kind of casting in the general direction where I saw it roll. Sometimes too, I'm using a little crawfish. It's a Big Bite Baits college crawl. To me, that's one of the best baits for a bed, but sometimes they won't hit it. So I'll pick up a lizard in a minute and see if they'll hit a lizard. Sometimes they don't like lizards in their bed worse than a crawfish. We just have to see. There's a lot of humps, a lot of sandy spots out here, and I caught that small fish a minute ago. We drifted over a bed, and when I say a bed, it's a spawning area that a fish fans out and they lay their eggs in. They're not going to eat while they're there, but you can aggravate them into biting. That's what we're doing. There's about a 4 or 5 pounder in there, and I'm sitting way off trying to coax it into biting. So what Jimmy's showing y'all is what a typical bed looks like. There may be some grass on the bottom of your pond or dark colored dirt, but that bright white or bright yellow, bright orange, depending on your dirt color, that's a bed. Not a fish on that one right now, but I guarantee you there will be, or there was. Oh, Jimmy, there's an 8 pounder up there. It's on the side. Oh my gosh, that's a giant fish. I saw it roll up like that other one. It was off the side. Oh, she's coming to look at it. Swam away. She knows it's there now, though. She don't like it very much. Oh, that's so exciting. All right, so what we're doing, if you've never fished for a fish on the bed, and particularly a large one like this, they are not eating, they're protecting. And so you're just gonna have to aggravate them, is the best way I know to say it. And sometimes you'll find one bait will aggravate them worse than another one. And so what I'm about to do, I've got this crawl bait on. I'm about to get another rod, so I'll have to keep switching baits back and forth, and I'm gonna put a lizard on. And for me, those are the best 2 baits. A lot of people will throw a tube in them. A lot of people will throw like a Cinco, and we may try that eventually to try to get these fish. I think there's one in there, it's about 4 pounds, it's a male. And if you know anything about bed fishing, if the male's that big, and I think we saw the female. But this is just a 6-inch Big Bite lizard. It's green pumpkin. I dyed the tail chartreuse, 1/8 ounce weight, 2/0 or 3/0 hook, and I'm gonna Texas rig it. This is how you Texas rig. You just come in about 1/4 inch. Let me get this rod out of the way. You just come in about 1/4 inch on the head. Come out. It's kind of where the hook bends. Push it all the way around on the hook, over the eye of the hook, till that crook is right there. That's what holds it on. And then this is the most important part. You want that thing to be straight. So you kind of look where the hook's going to go through, and you bend that bait and push it through where the hook was laying there. And then You just skin hook it in the back, and as you can see, that's pretty straight. That fish is in there right now. I'm gonna see if he doesn't like a. This is the time of year you want him not to like a bait. Normally you want him to like it and eat it, but this one you want him not to like it and kill it. Yeah, that's a big fish. He's not much liking it when I throw something in there. He's kind of leaving. But what I'll do a lot of times is when leaves, I'll try to put it in there while he's gone, so that when he comes back, it's sitting in the bed. Oh my gosh, there's the, oh no, that's a carp. I thought the female was over there, about 3 feet long. So what I'm doing now is I'm watching real close. I've kind of tried to put the sun behind me so they, or in front of me, behind them so they can't see me. And as soon as it comes back, there he is. I'm going to shake it. He's looking. Oh, that was a carp. There's 2 carp just swam over that bed. That may have been what I saw earlier, but there's definitely about a 4-pound bass in this bed. And it just may not be quite ready yet. We may have to give it a few minutes. What I was telling Jimmy was sometimes if a fish isn't quite ready, you go fish some other places for 20-30 minutes and come back later, and there's a big old white spot over there. There's one right there. There's one on the end of that tree. We hadn't even really gotten to the real flat area yet where they normally are. This is what we call a 6-inch finesse worm, trick worm. There's lots of different names, but I rig it weightless on a 3/0 hook. And the reason I use that crazy color called methylate, it's a reaction bait. And so basically, I either want a fish to come up to eat it, or sometimes they'll come up to look at it, and that kind of gives away their position on a bed. I can stop my boat and throw in there with that crawl and catch it, or that lizard and catch it. There he is, just like that. That fish was behind a stump, and he did like he's supposed to do. He came up and, oh, he threw it at me and rolled over on it. And that was very exciting. So what I did though, I threw it at a light spot right there, and he came up off that light spot and just creamed it. So I'm gonna throw back in there and see if maybe the female's in there, because I know that was probably the male. A really high percentage target this time of year too is stumps, because these female bass that they're full of eggs, they'll stop on stumps, or they might bed by stumps. There's a fish, and they actually will rub up against the stumps to loosen those eggs up. But right now, in the last 3 casts, I've had 2 bites on this little methylate worm, and they're clearly these small males, but it doesn't make them any less fun to catch. There you go, about a 12-incher. We're gonna pond manage him. And basically the cadence is just kind of 2 or 3 jerks, and then you let it sink almost out of sight. The other thing this time of year is, you may have to use several different ways to catch them. Like we're right here on the edge of a sand drop, and that's where I lost that 6 or 7 pounder. So before we get up here on this really shallow flat, I'm going to pick up my rattle bait again and see if maybe there's a big one sitting off waiting to move up, because all the fish that move up real shallow, they're smaller. So we're just going to throw off the edge of this thing and see if maybe there's a better one out there somewhere. So the bait I'm throwing is just a little 5/8 ounce red-eye shad. It's actually the generic version of it, but it's chrome blue back. I chose chrome because it's a sunny day, and you want that chrome on a sunny day. People ask me a lot of times, when is the spawn? It's very hard to answer that question. Typically in Georgia, it's sometime between early March and early April. This particular year, we had a really warm 2 weeks in February, and I think a group of them spawned in February. But then we had a really cold snap the first week of March. And it's been really cold since then. So I think there's a big group of them that are just moving back up. So we tried that. Now we're just going to work our way in a little bit shallower. Throwing the crawl and the little red worm, little methylate worm. Ooh, there he is. Got him. I saw the flash. It's a pretty decent fish. Not a big one. I looked away for just a second, and then I saw that fish flash, and my worm was gone. I don't know if y'all can see what he was on, but there's a big old stump row up there. He's a 2-pounder. He's a little better than some of those little knotheads we've been catching. And clearly, by the way he ate that thing, he wanted it. So I'm not going to take any chances. This line's 10 pounds. But that's what you want them to look like in your lake. Fat and healthy. Fish probably hadn't started fanning a bed yet. He's just up there shallow getting ready. We're about 63. When this water hits about 65, they'll be doing their thing, making more bass. There's a beauty of catch and release too. He's been caught before. Anytime they're red in the mouth like that, I don't know if y'all can see that, it means they're just about ready to spawn. Let him do it. That was cool, Jimmy. That was cool. There he is. Oh, I missed him. He came out from under and never had it. That's what I'm talking about. They'll show themselves. And I didn't really wait for the weight of him because he was in a tree. But he never really ate it. He just tried to kill it. This is how you know they're about to spawn. If they, well, it did it for a second, but a little stream of TT comes out. Caught that one on a light spot up here. I don't know if he can show you what we're looking at, but it's just a flat with a bunch of scattered wood, and you can see about 5 or 6. I describe them as bright spots on the bottom, and those are places those fish have fanned out for beds. That fish came from 30 feet to the right to eat that orange worm, and look how big he is. That just shows you how aggressive these things are. Oh my word, they're so fun. And you would think in the store, I'm not buying that crazy color worm, but they like it, or they don't like it, one of the two. He's a big one. So the bait I'm trying to throw on these beds is it's a 3.5 inch big bite bait's college crawl. This color is called tilapia. It's kind of a green pumpkin with several color flakes in it. But I also dyed just the tips of the claws. To me that looks like a natural crawfish. Something about that chartreuse on the claws. It's like putting steak sauce on your steak. They like it. You'll hear me say locked on. I don't think that fish was on a bed doing anything. They're just getting ready. And when they're not locked on, they're much harder to catch. They're just kind of cruising around. That's why it's better to, if you can, throw at the light spot before you actually see the fish. It's better. So, thought I'd give him a shot. In case you're wondering, like I can't make up my mind what I want to throw. What I'm doing is looking at real specific targets I'm throwing that crawl to, white spots and stuff, and then when I'm not seeing that and I'm just seeing cover that they might be hanging out on, then I'm throwing this methylate colored 6-inch finesse worm. And we've caught them both ways, so it's kind of an effective approach. Oh yeah, he's looking at it, Jimmy. He's sitting over there by it, he's looking at it. Come on, fish. Come on, you don't like that. Come on, you know you don't like it. Eat it. Problem is, I can't tell where my bait is. He's clearly agitated. Ooh. Oh, eat it, eat it, eat it. He's following it. Broke my line. Broke my line. So here's the deal. I'm using fluorocarbon and braid, and I told Jimmy last time I've set my drag too tight, because if you set it too hard, that braid doesn't give at all, and neither does the fluorocarbon. And if you're like me, growing up throwing monofilament with a stretch, but I forgot to reset my drag, and as soon as I said, it was a nice one, 3-pounder, broke my line. We're gonna try to not make that mistake again. So we put down the camera for just a minute, and we were throwing the methylate trick worms, and actually I'm going to tell you the truth, Jimmy caught the really nice one, about a 5-pounder, and I caught one about 1.5 pounds, and we're just coming in the backs of these areas throwing that little worm. So we're going to let this one go. We're going to keep this one and do what my friend calls put the brown suit on him. So when you have one like this, get a good picture of them, but make sure when you let them go, when they're this size, just kind of ease them in the water till they kind of just swim out of your hand. It's cold enough, he should be fine. There you go. So we're just fishing this backwater area, and we're alternating between the crawl, the lizard, and the methylate worm. And this is a nice fish, 3-4 pounder that I threw in a light spot, but I never saw the fish. And then all of a sudden, I started to reel in. I pulled it over the limb there, and I think that triggered the strike when I pulled it over the limb. And this is a pretty fish right here. It's so much fun this time of year, kind of looking for them, even when you're not seeing them. You're seeing where they are. I don't know how to say it better than that, but you're seeing where they're going on the beds and stuff. But boy, that is a thick. That's a 3-pounder easy. It could be 3.5. And we're going to unhook it and get a good video of it, and then we're going to let it go right back out to its bed and do its thing. It won't hurt them one bit. And see, this fish may have just been cruising up there. His tail's not even messed up yet. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, brother. So this little spray dye we're using, it Spike It Dip and Glow aerosol. It's garlic flavored. You can buy it in the dip. I personally like the spray better because I can't kick it over in my boat. It sometimes will drip. You have to be careful about the drip. But I'll just take the very ends of the pinchers on this thing. Just one little dab there. One little dab there. I don't want the whole thing chartreuse. I just want the tips. If you've ever seen a crawfish or a little minnow in the wild, a lot of times their very ends are a little bit different color. So that's what we're going for. He'll be one for the smokehouse. So we're just having a good old time. If you can go this time of year when the water gets 62 to 65, then they're shallow. It's just fun. We're catching them on this little crawl on a trick worm and looking for them. Sometimes we're seeing them, sometimes we're just seeing the light spot, but it's a great way to catch them. Got him on the light spot. I was on my way to my really good light spot, and I saw this light spot under a tree, and he obliged me. And see, it's cool to see the difference. Like this fish clearly was on a bed. You can see how the tail's torn. Been fanning that bed, and I can see it. There's another one down there on it. But we're gonna go up there and try to catch Mr. Big, but it's a pretty one. See that tail. That's what happens when they fan those beds out. Well, they have been on this worm. They have really been in the shallow stuff. You throw at these deeper logs, they're just not there. But man, it's the 1-2 punch today. The crawl for specifically looking at them, and the methylate 6-inch finesse worm when you're just kind of fan casting cover or logs or whatever. And boy, these, I use a Gamakatsu 3/0 extra wide gap hook for this one and a 2/0 for the other, and they hold, man. We're helping our friend manage his pond, so everything under 14 inches we're keeping to have for dinner. And that's okay, you don't want to overpopulate your pond. Oh, there he is. Little. He just peck. I threw over to a light spot over there. Peck. Yep. Wow. Better get the net on this one, Jimmy. That's crazy. It just shows you what a predator they are, though. That little would hit that thing. These are the kind you hold them way out like this and make them look like they weigh a pound. Something just took off right there, about half the size of my boat. Look at the whirl, Jimmy. I guess it's one of them big old carp. Now they're going crazy, see them? I may ease over here, Jimmy, and now that is not a carp. That's about an 8-pound bass. So we saw the feeder go off at this. Oh, there's one with him. There's one with him. If you got a, if he stays with him, I was going to try to catch him, but he swam down. That was very cool. What I was going to say is we were on our way over, we saw the feeder go off here. And so I said, let's run over there and throw a crankbait. And just on the way, there was a lay down log, and I threw this and ran it down that lay down log. It's just a little square bill crankbait. And he thought it was a minnow, an easy dinner. And boy, fat. Anyway, that's a nice fat one. All these fish in this pond they've really managed it well. So, and that's what we're helping them do. We keep little ones and make fish tacos. So something you always want to be watching for is weather changes. And we've been catching all these fish today, looking at light spots and stuff, but this afternoon it's warm and the wind got up real good, and we started coming down the windy side. There's a lot of cover and stuff on it, and I started throwing a bait. I love to throw in the wind a square bill crankbait, and I caught 2 small ones, and now I got this really nice one on. And a square bill is simply called a square bill because that's what it is. The bill on the crankbait itself is square, and they only run about 2 or 3, 4 feet deep, depending on the size of your line. But this is a big, nice one right here. I mean, chunky fat. And I normally wouldn't lift them in, but I don't have a net, and he's got a mouthful of hooks, and I got 15-pound line, so I think I'm good. But that may be about pushing a 4.5, 5 pounder. Really nice one. Good way to end the day, isn't it? Yeah, we've been here a good part of the day, probably getting ready to leave, and I told Jimmy, let's throw this windward bank for a little while, and we may be fixing to put him on something he can catch one like this. Hey everybody, thanks so much for being with us today. We had a great time fishing early spring in middle Georgia. Just remember those couple of things. Fish are coming on the bed, be looking for light spots. Throw a little crawfish imitation, a little lizard imitation, and then a trick worm or a 6-inch finesse worm in a crazy color. Sometimes they'll come and get that thing. And then always remember to be aware, like when it got windy today, we started throwing crankbaits and catching them too. But we just appreciate you guys watching. Watch out for us in season 4 this year of Tightline. And if you ever want to reach Go Fish Ministries, you can reach us at gofishoutdoorministries.com. Thanks so much for joining us.